Welcome to Star Auto Service. Today we have a 2015 BMW X5 with an N55 3-liter engine. It came here after it was serviced at another shop. They installed a used engine, which they got for very cheap. For BMW, cheap is not very cheap. So we've already pulled the engine out and we got to the root of the problem. It has a spun bearing as always and a damaged crankshaft. And as you may know, N55 crankshafts get bent or even broken very easily. So fortunately, this one is in one piece and we are rebuilding this engine. Let's have a look at the extent of the damage. This is the bad bearing. You can see it is virtually black, unlike the good ones everywhere else. And we've already taken a bearing out of there, or what was left of it. I'll just show you the insides. So the crankshaft journal is completely scratched up, and this is what we pulled out. It was completely welded to the crank journal. So this engine is going to get a new crankshaft, a new connecting rod, at least one, and a new timing chain, probably new pistons to go along, a thorough cleaning. So we'll walk you through the whole process. So as I mentioned before, this engine was replaced recently, and it was only a couple of months ago. This customer really didn't get much out of it. The more we dig into it, the more problems we see. The previous mechanic has left out quite a bit of stuff. First of all, he lost an exhaust runner gasket, and you can even see the discoloration and the blackening of the exhaust port. Must have been making some noises. There's a lot of bolts over-torqued. They are aluminum bolts, one-time use. They were never changed and over-torqued. Also, when he put the engine back together with the transmission, he had a little bit of a trouble lining them up. And one of the dowel pins did not quite line up and got mangled very badly. This also means that the engine and transmission were not properly aligned. Fortunately, this engine didn't last long enough to create problems between the engine and the flywheel and the torque converter. So we'll have to solve all of those problems as we go along. Don't take your car to a place that isn't qualified to work on a BMW. Okay, so we've had a couple of new developments with this N55 engine. First, we found why this connecting rod bearing spun. It happened because the main bearing spun and cut off the oil supply hole to the crankshaft. Somebody has been in this engine before. We've looked at the bearing sizes that are supposed to be on each journal, and the bearings that are actually in there, and all the bearings are wrong. So that caused the first main bearing to run dry with no clearance and then spin and cut off the oil supply to the connecting rod, and the other bearing then spun. So this is one of the lower bearing shell. It's completely destroyed, and this upper one doesn't even stay in place. I think I should be able to even take it out. Look at that. Let's get this crank out. When the bearing spun, it made damage to the block itself. This may or may not be repairable. We'll have to send this block to a machine shop and see what they say. So we received the engine blocks from our machine shop, and we're going to begin the reassembly right away. we're back to doing this N55 engine, and now we've got the proper BMW bearings, installing them right now, and we'll see how the crank spins. So the engine is back in and all back together. Let's start it up and see how she runs. So the last thing to do is just take it for a test drive before we give it back to the customer. So let's get out onto the main road and give it some gas. So we don't see any check engine light or any other warning lights. Temperature seems fine, all the indications are looking really good, no unusual noises or anything. The vehicle does have some suspension noises, but that's something else that's not related to the engine. So I'm satisfied with the test drive. Everything went very well. Car drives nice, engine works perfectly, no unusual noises or anything else going on. So we will just be calling a customer to come and pick up the vehicle. Subscribe to our channel, leave us a comment, and I'll see you in the next video.